Hello and welcome to this week's Movie Math, where do I have a picture to paint for you? I can't believe this. This is a very big deal, as we begin to see that ScarJo's lawsuit is just the tip of the iceberg, as a new digital-focused Hollywood continues to take shape. And this is the new stuff, pitting talent against executives. And not just big movie stars like Scarlett Johansson, but everybody, even down to set builders, etc. Let's discuss. All right, so as we all know, ScarJo's lawsuit is about profit participation, as are the upcoming impending union strikes from IATSE this year. Any day, they're voting on the ability to strike right now. That's how unions work. They have to get the go-ahead from their members. And I heard that the WGA will almost certainly strike in 2023. WGA is the Writers Guild, as many of you know, and a lot of you have been asking me, what exactly is IATSE? Well, that represents technicians, artisans, and craftspersons working in not just film production, but TV production and live TV broadcasting, as well as live theater. If IATSE goes on strike, it would be hard for anything to be in production, filmed, or live. IATSE has never gone on strike before. We don't know what this would look like, and they've been around since 1893. But we do know what a Writers Guild strike would look like, as they did one in 2007 for about 3 months, and it was devastating. Remember Daniel Craig talking about how he and Mark Forster had to rewrite the Quantum of Solace script on set because of the strike? And we all saw how that movie turned out. I think they could have benefited from some writers. Now, I've been talking to several people I know in the industry over the last few days, and they've helped me to see the bigger, potentially more alarming picture that, as I said, is starting to come into focus. One where executives are the ones making the big bucks. I mean, executives are always well paid in Hollywood, but now they're going to become the alphas, and talent is going to get squeezed. And this mentality is being brought into Hollywood by all the tech executives that are being hired because of the new focus on streaming. Think about how a video game company works, for instance, with Crunch, right? Or the hierarchy at Google or Apple. These are executive-driven businesses rather than talent-driven businesses. And the only thing that's been the saving grace in the tech industry and the video game industry is that top talent is often also the top executives. Think about, for instance, Apple. They are still benefiting from Steve Jobs' leadership, and no one else actually has been able to deliver as good leadership. They certainly haven't had any of the same creative breakthroughs that they did when he was the top exec, and he had a hard time being the top exec. Now, of course, over at Netflix, who started this digital shift, everyone is making a ton of money, executives and talent, and the creativity still seems to be going very strong as well. I mean, you know, you hear all this and you think, well, Hollywood be devoid of creativity, right? But I mean, Netflix just swept the Emmys. Although everyone at Netflix, is important to point out, still makes their money up front. There are no residuals. People in Hollywood feel that while Netflix is a very strong source of revenue for many people, it does not deliver the same level of payday that traditional Hollywood has delivered up until like right now. And also, that was okay with everyone because Netflix was a new additional opportunity in stream of revenue, and the old school, more lucrative ones still existed. Now, those are shifting to be more like Netflix. So let's take a look. I think a really good example of what's going on, because, you know, it's hard to wrap your head around this. Well, let's take a look at Shang Chi and what's going on with its release strategy, digital release strategy, for a good illustration of this new digital-focused Hollywood. Now, for comparison's sake, let's look at Black Widow. That hit theaters July 9th and Disney Plus for $29.99 Premier Access. Then 1 month later, on August 10th, it became available on digital for purchase for $29.99, same price that it was over on Disney Plus. And then a month after that, so you're 2 months later to September 14th, physical copies go on sale and the price drops on digital to $19.99 on PVOD. Then on October 6th, which is 3 months after it hit theaters, Black Widow will be available at no extra cost on Disney Plus and probably available to rent, with Disney feeling that the subscription price is equivalent to what it would cost you to just rent it outright on PVOD. So that's 3 months. Now, Shang Chi hit theaters only on September 3rd, and while it hasn't been announced yet, they did say it would be a 45-day window until it hit digital. So that will be around October 19th, a month and a half. And it will likely be $29.99, or will they jump right to the $19.99 price point? Because on November 12th, approximately just 2 months after its release, it will be available on Disney Plus at no extra cost. That's a month shorter window than Black Widow. There's no physical copy space. Like where are you going to have the physical copies be accentuated? And there's no space to have a $29.99 window and a $19.99 window. Why are they rushing? Why are they moving up at no extra cost on Disney Plus? Well, that's because on November 12th, it's not only Disney Plus Day, but the service will be launching in Hong Kong, South Korea, and Taiwan. And surely Disney hopes that Shang Chi will be an incentive, particularly in those regions, to drive new subscriptions. But as soon as Disney announced it would be available on November 12th to all Disney Plus subscribers at no extra cost, the majority of you decided that you would just wait for that to be the next time that you watched it. I mean, it did okay in theaters this weekend, but I think this will seriously undercut Shang-Chi's ability to earn revenue in the digital space until November 12th. But Disney executives don't care because they're concerned with the bigger picture of the company overall, and a strong and vibrant Disney Plus is important for the company and for executive bonuses. It's a little bit similar to how all the they had such strong, I mean, that was a horrible problem, but how, worrying about their jobs and their bonuses, a lot of the Warner Brothers executives made those very unfortunate choices with Justice League because they were worrying about corporate elements, right? So anyway, so what about the image of Shang-Chi, right? There's no profit participation talent in Shang-Chi. No big name director, no big name talent. So they don't have to worry about that. And that's probably one of the reasons Disney was able to do this. But it still matters where that movie stands in box office rankings for the resumes of everyone involved. So yes, Shang-Chi can boast that it's now the biggest domestic hit of the pandemic, but in normal circumstances, and it opened very big, it opened almost like a regular movie. It set a record for Labor Day weekend, but it's ending its theatrical run not looking that great. But Disney, with Shang-Chi, is opening the door to playing with the carefully constructed window structure for releases, and they could play with this even beyond the pandemic, right? So it's supposed to hit theatrical, then it hits digital, then physical copies become available, then it goes to the ancillary market like hotels, airplanes, etc. Then they do streaming, and then there are windows. With the Sony Disney deal, we've been learning about pay 1 window, pay 2 window. That formula builds hits and it builds revenue that everyone associated with the production, all the way down to the bottom, has been able to participate to. So when you change this release structure on a whim and put a movie on a streaming service where there is no direct revenue that can be attributed to it because it's at no extra cost, how will non-executives get their cut of the action, right? Now, executives have a job with a salary, but everyone else in the entertainment business works on a per-project basis. So yes, they care very much about how that specific project does and what it brings in because thanks to their agents and unions, they get a cut of that. But they aren't owed anything from subscriptions, which is why all these unions, and why Scarlett Johansson's agents advised her to sue, it's why all these unions are going to strike to renegotiate their contracts. And again, we're talking not just big movie stars and top-tier talent, we're talking stagehands, hair and makeup artists, etc. So you're seeing the rise of the Hollywood executive, more powerful and wealthier than ever before, with talent from actors to writers to directors no longer the driving force of Hollywood business culture. That is, to me, fascinating. I mean, I don't know whether or not some of the people I spoke to were like, be afraid, but I think Netflix has worked out. So I'm not sure if this is going to make everything devoid of creativity, but I think I agree with the unions and everybody going on strike. I think that, some people can jump from project to project, but a lot of people only work on one project a year. It's very important, and these people need to be, of course, looked after. So let's keep an eye on this. All right, let that stew, and let's take a look at the weekend top 10. Yes, Shang-Chi edged out Black Widow at the domestic box office with its last weekend before real competition hits and fell just 40% in its fourth frame, which again is, not bad at all. It's actually pretty good. Meanwhile, Dear Evan Hansen opened to just $7.5 million, pounded by critics, and as you can see, very few people had an interest in seeing it, but those who went really loved it, so I'm glad they had a good time. Overall, Disney continues to dominate in theaters, though, with Free Guy and Jungle Cruise now tied at around $114 million domestic. And as for the top 10 domestic for 2021 so far, 5 are Disney, including the top 2. 3 are Warner Brothers. Good for you, Warner Brothers. Get in there. Everybody made fun of you with your HBO Max day and date. You still got 3. I don't think it's going to end the year that way. Although Matrix and Dune are very promising, but still. And then Uni and Paramount each have 1 in there. And this is why Bob Chapek is allowed to do anything he wants across the entire Disney Plus empire. Paying for Fast Pass, that's coming up. Even though a lot of people in the company, the industry, and consumers are unhappy with him. But until his decisions start hurting the bottom line for the company financially, he will continue to push the edge of the envelope. So let's see. Will there be a breaking point where people actually speak up with their dollars? I don't know. Disney's awfully powerful. Their product is so fantastic. All right. Anyway, over on streaming, they're like, just try not to come over here. And you're like, damn you. All right. Now, over on streaming with its 3rd episode, What If climbed a little bit higher in the top 10 on Nielsen, while Hulu's 9 Perfect Strangers is holding steady towards the top. You know, that got a little wonky towards the end, but it finished so strong. Loved that show. The rest is all Netflix, with 3 new series debuting that week alone. Over in movies, Cruella became available at no extra cost on Disney Plus and shot back to #1. While Hulu's Vacation Friends and Netflix's Bob Ross documentary also debuted with a big audience. While David Oyelowo's The Waterman, his directorial debut, and not an Amazon original. That hit theaters. That was on Netflix for a while. It's, in fact, still on Netflix. But on Amazon, it cracked the top 10. Good for you, Oyelowo. Over on Netflix this week, South Korea's Squid Game is #1. I find that fascinating. Netflix's ability to get U.S. audiences to watch foreign content is perhaps their greatest and noblest achievement. So we're upset with them for what they're doing to the pay structure in Hollywood and, you know, changing the culture, but that's a pretty good counter. Then Melissa McCarthy's awards hopeful The Starling is #2, with other debuts, Midnight Mass, My Little Pony, and Intrusion right behind it. So much new content every week over there. I gotta say, Melissa McCarthy, you gotta give her credit. She beat out Midnight Mass, My Little Pony, and Intrusion with a movie that I only think looks medium. So that's incredible. Then on iTunes, and you know, Thunder Force was a huge hit on the service. So anyway, if she joins the ranks of Adam Sandler and Eddie Murphy, who have also flirted with Oscar. Fascinating. All right, anyway, then on iTunes, we can see that many are still patiently waiting for the latest movies here. They're like, come to us. And audiences are also getting ready for Venom 2 by renting or purchasing, I suspect mostly renting, the original Venom. So yes, Venom, Let There Be Carnage hits theaters only this Friday. The embargo lifts the day before. But in the morning at least, that's a good thing. Sometimes they'll lift the embargo right when the first Thursday night shows start. Meanwhile, The Many Saints of Newark hits theaters and HBO Max day and date. I think everyone would. It's a movie based on a TV show. I would think almost everybody would watch that on streaming, but hopefully it'll be a big hit. While The Addams Family 2 will be in theaters, and then that will be available also on PVOD. And Free Guy finally hits PVOD for purchase this Tuesday. Fantastic film. I think that's going to do bonkers business. Even late last week, people were pre-ordering it, and it popped into the top 10. On streaming, Netflix has another big week. Britney vs. Spears on Tuesday, that'll trend, along with Attack of the Hollywood Clichés, hosted by Rob Lowe. Himself a Hollywood cliche. I couldn't help myself. I kid because I love Rob Lowe. And then on Friday, there's Antoine Fuqua's The Guilty movie starring Jake Gyllenhaal. One of those things all shot in a single place. Oh my God, because of the pandemic, but maybe they did a good job with it. Diana the Musical is going to be hitting Netflix. They filmed the stage show before it opens on Broadway because of the pandemic. New series Made, which hopes to be another awards hit. It looks pretty good. That's got Margaret Qualley and her mother, Andie MacDowell. And all 9 seasons of Seinfeld will debut on Netflix, hoping to replace their loss of Friends and The Office. I watched Seinfeld when it was on Hulu at the beginning of the pandemic. I worked my way through all 9 seasons, and I had a fabulous time. So if you have not done that yet, I highly recommend it. Meanwhile, HBO Max has the first 3 episodes of the docuseries The Way Down on Thursday, an adult animated series 10-Year-Old Tom. Then also on Thursday, Jon Stewart's new show starts on Apple TV. And on Friday, Disney Plus has the new Lego Star Wars Halloween special. And on Saturday, normally I wouldn't mention it, but SNL kicks off its new season with Owen Wilson as the host. And maybe we'll get a Loki sketch. I'm excited. And that's this week's Movie Math. What have you been watching? What do you plan to watch? And what do you think of all these changes in Hollywood? Share your thoughts down below, subscribe today, and of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.